police sources saying that they've had a little bit of difficulty talking with victims, cooperation on behalf of victims, family members coming to the scene. It all adds to it, not to mention how hot and humid it is out there. So we have confirmed through police that 2 people have been shot out there on the east side off of Somerset earlier today. 2 shot, non-fatal, meaning their conditions are not critical or even grave at this point. So it does look like those people will be okay. But in terms of specific conditions, where they were shot, how it all went down, that's unclear. Also, no suspect in custody at this point. I have confirmed that they are still looking for a shooter or shooters, and of course, how this all played out. Detroit police describing the scene as chaotic, as I just said earlier, which means they're having some difficulty trying to sort out all of the details and all the things that have gone on out there. So again, just to recap, 2 folks shot outside earlier today on the east side of Detroit off Somerset. Their conditions described as non-fatal, and police are still looking for that suspect. So I was just talking with one of my sources, asking and offering if there's any help, meaning can we put a suspect photo out there? Can we put a getaway vehicle, anything like that? They're still trying to button all that up right now. So we can't even put anything out to the public in terms of letting, hey, they're looking for this type of car or this type of person.
And we do want to point out as well, Jess, that if anyone saw anything out there or heard anything and may not be in the area right now as police are investigating, give Detroit police a call, give Crimestoppers a call. That number 1-800-SPEAK UP. You will remain anonymous, and there is a reward possible as well that if there's any information that leads to an arrest. So, and we said this the other day, Jess, as well, and unfortunately losing the live pictures out there, but these are photos that we were able to get from the scene earlier. And we said this the other day, that any piece of the puzzle, no matter how small, could be key as Detroit police and detectives are investigating this.
And that's part of the reason, you know, you go out to these scenes and you're not getting information from police right away. That's because they've got to button up their own situation out there. When you've got all kinds of people flooding the crime tape, you know, people saying this happened, people saying that happened. And unfortunately, not everybody is the best witness. You know, we go out to these scenes and someone will say, hey, I heard 20 shots. Turns out to be 4 or 5 shots. So police need to button up their information. Of course, they want those tips, but at least early on, they're just trying to sort through, okay, who's hurt, who's not, where's a gun, where's a shooter, and that kind of thing. Sort of looks like that's the phase that they're in right now at this point in time. But of course, Aaron, once things kind of cool down, the block calms down a little bit, they'll be looking for any kind of Ring doorbell that they can source. And of course, hopefully some people will come forward with information, whether that be straight to DPD's line or Crimestoppers.
Absolutely. And certainly a lot to play out there as well. And again, people understandably frustrated, Jess. We were seeing a little bit ago that people trying to get back into their homes, they're not able to get back in their homes. And a hot night, you can imagine, at a time that tensions are already high, when you're seeing a crime scene like that in your neighborhood, the heat only makes it worse. We've had to see Detroit police kind of playing peacemaker out there, calming people down as they're wanting to get back inside their homes. And unfortunately, they were able to do a good job of calming things down out there. But that certainly adds to this as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've been covering crime since Flint for 15, 16 years now, and it isn't a myth. You know, when the summer comes, especially those first really hot few weeks, tensions are hot out there, and it does spur violence. More people are outside, more people are, you know, maybe having a cocktail and that kind of thing. So it does spur that additional violence. But yeah, I mean, you can see it's 2 sides of the coin, though. You're just trying to get to your house. Someone's, you know, playing games with guns in the streets or what have you. It's very frustrating. And there's so many good folks in Detroit that they just want to go home. They come home after a long day of work. They see this crime tape, and it's such a common sight, unfortunately, in so many of these neighborhoods that, you know, people are sick of it. And yeah, of course, it's not fun to stand outside, wait around for hours, because a scene like this that's already chaotic, it's already confusing, you've got multiple shots, they're going to be tied up till 10, 11, midnight tonight. It doesn't move like we've talked about as fast as a lot of people would like it to. So,
and I think the important point to make here too, we do know that there's no arrests at this point, but the 2 people that were shot, non-fatal injuries. So that is good news when it comes to that. We saw a number of evidence markers that were on the ground out there too, Jess. So hard to tell at this point how many shots were fired
Yeah.
out there. So again, we're expecting Detroit police press conference from them anytime now. And it looks like we did just get our live pictures back, so I want to
There we
go
go,
back
yeah.
out to those.
And when you see that cluster there of kind of plainclothes officers, that is a good indicator. They're sort of comparing notes, prepping for the press conference. When you see those detectives in plainclothes kind of consulting with the brass, meaning the upper echelon of DPD, you're a few minutes out of a press conference, which is good news. And again, you know, we say two shot and hurt non-fatally. That's from 3 different sources. But again, these are a lot of moving parts out here. So there could be another victim that surfaces at a hospital across town that maybe didn't show themselves or reveal themselves. So that is always a possibility too. You know, not everybody runs right to the closest hospital or calls 911. Sometimes you drive yourself, and so other victims may surface, especially if you're looking at a situation that's a little chaotic, lots of evidence markers, lots of casings, that kind of thing. We could be looking at potentially more victims. Not to speculate, but
No,
it happens.
absolutely. You're right, Jess, and the fact that that we've seen in so many instances, crimes big and small, where you get preliminary information and then that information changes
Sure.
because the circumstances change and you get more information, and that's just kind of the investigative process as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, here we are, as you said, I was listening, you know, we're in a 24-hour news cycle. We go with what we have at the time with sort of the caveat of this is preliminary information. There's a lot of moving parts and things do change and things do morph. And, you know, a scene as big as this, too, you have to remember that some officers are working one part of it on one block, some are working it on the other block. They're not always comparing notes in real time, too. So it does take a minute. So that's why we always ask people, bear with us. You know, we're trying to get it as fast as we can because I know the appetite is there for people to know what's going on, especially if you live on the east side.
Absolutely, and seeing the and certainly again there's that process that we take as journalists as well, Jess, to not report anything that isn't confirmed as well. But to that end as well, again, there's so much that changes in these situations in a scene that's as chaotic as this one is that we were seeing out there. So many different houses. Obviously, you can see by the shell case or the evidence markers, excuse me, that are out there, a number of gunshots fired. We know that 2 people were shot and injured, and no arrests as well. That's a key aspect of this. They're trying to track down whoever did this.
And a lot of times what happens is just a little, you know, peek behind the curtain is, you know, one source said one thing, but the first thing they said was it's really chaotic out there. That's an indicator to me that, hey, I need to source this out a little bit more, talk to a few more officers, talk to a few more sources to kind of flush out the information, put things on a delay. Because when it is chaotic, when it is confusing, you're getting maybe victims that aren't as cooperative. That's when things get lost and facts get moved around. But again, it is all preliminary, and it's part of the investigative process, and we're at their mercy, unfortunately.
And certainly again, and we apologize that these, just to go behind the curtain a little more here, just as far as how it works for TV, these devices that we use to go live on the air run off of cell signals. So sometimes that can drop intermittently. Think how it is with your cell phone when you're trying to make a call. So if you see it freeze, that's what's going on. A lot of times there are issues when it comes to that, but we're staying with this again because, as Jessica said, you saw a cluster of officers in the back, and she was saying that that's a sign that we could be getting some information soon. That and we do know from Fox 2's Lauren Edwards, who is live on the scene right now, that they are that the PIO, the public information officer, has arrived on the scene. So that would be an indication as well that they're planning on briefing the media.
I'm looking right now, that tall guy in the middle, that's Jackson. He's with Detroit Police Communications. So once he's on scene, once those guys start coming, you're looking at pretty soon to get information. Again, it may be very preliminary, it may be kind of skimpy details wise, but at least we'll get something. And Detroit Police, they do a heck of a job managing these scenes and getting it out to the public. They know that they have, they have a responsibility to get information out, and they know that the appetite is here and now, and they do do a phenomenal job. They have a whole department dedicated to dealing with the media, and it's robust, and they do a nice job. Of course, we always want more information than they give us, but at least so that we can relay that information to the neighborhood, because that's important, especially when you're looking at, you know, a shooter that is potentially on the run, or shooters at this point, because they don't have anybody in custody, at least at this point.
Certainly, and to your point as well, they are very good at getting the information out there. We see them go on Facebook Live all the time to make sure the public has information, no matter where they're at, whether they're watching it on Fox 2 or they see it on the Detroit Police Facebook page, that this information is able to get out there, because in a lot of ways it is a matter of public safety as well, and making sure people know that whether there is a suspect on the run or not, in this case there is, what they need to know about the scene. Do they need to stay away from there as the investigation is playing out? It's so important to get that information out as fast as possible, but you want the information to be accurate as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The nice thing, you know, if there is any solace or, you know, silver lining with this, is in the summertime, so many people are outside, which means more witnesses. Can't tell you how many neighborhoods I've gone into in February trying to do door knocks. Hey, did you see something? Did you? No, I was inside huddled, you know, by a heater. But in the summertime, people are out. There's, you know, there's more witnesses. There's more chances that somebody saw something. So it is a little bit easier to gather that information in a neighborhood like this, where I'd imagine folks were outside riding bikes, you know, watching kids and stuff like that. So that is what Detroit police will be heavily relying on, is witnesses at this point.
Absolutely. Jessica Dupnack, stand by for us if you can. We're going to take a quick break here. We're going to stay on these live pictures, but work to gather some more information and come right back, especially as soon as we see Detroit police. Stay with us.
What are we on? 22. Perfect. Thank you so much. Later. Thank you for that. Removing the tripod.
Back now to breaking news on Detroit's east side. I'm Aaron Jordan with Jessica Dupnack here in our Fox 2 studios. Fox 2's Lauren Edwards at this scene where this is all playing out on Somerset and Courville Avenue. As we know at this point, 2 people were shot and injured on Detroit's east side. Sources telling Jessica Dupnack that the injuries are non-fatal and that no arrests have been made at this point. We do know that the public information officer in Detroit is out on the scene right now. We're waiting to see if any press conference happens with him. We will obviously listen into that as we are watching this scene. But Jess, we are always pushing Crimestoppers here on Fox 2, and with good reason. It's a great way to gather tips for police. 1-800-SPEAK-UP, and hear if you saw anything and need to relay that to police, and you can stay anonymous as well. But your story tonight has to do with Crimestoppers as well.
Yeah, it kind of fits in perfectly. Unfortunately, I will say I got a call from Detroit Police Brass early this morning, kind of a frantic call actually, and they were telling me that Crimestoppers is about to go under, which kind of shocking. You wake up to that call because it is something, I mean, it's ingrained in our newscast. So many folks around here, they know that 1-800-SPEAK-UP number. We unpacked it a little bit, and basically they have kept very quiet, Crimestoppers, which is of course a nonprofit, really quiet about their lack of funding. And so basically the crux of it is if they don't get the money they need, which is $250,000 by July 1st, they're going to have to cut 90% of their services.
Oh, wow.
90 is basically everything. The only thing that would remain, at least temporarily, would be the hotline, the 800 number, hotline, all of the other services for family members, the press conferences, all of the things, that big presence that Crimestoppers of Michigan has here in Metro Detroit would be gone. So kind of crazy.
And we know with those press conferences that they're able to do, Jess, that generates a lot of tips for cases that people might have forgotten about that go cold, or even just a year ago, hey, let's put this back on the radar of the public, see if we can try and solve crimes and get these families the answers they deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not just something we say. It's not a throwaway phrase that our anchors, say at the anchor desk. They generate 5,000 tips per year. That is a lot of tips. There's families behind those tips, and a bulk of them go to Detroit Police. And when I say a bulk, I mean a bulk. So we actually talked to one of the heads of homicide at DPD, and he's sounding the alarm. He's saying, we need these tips. We need Crimestoppers to stay around, because what happens is if they cut the 90% of the services, then the next thing to go is that hotline. So it could only be a matter of time before that's gone too. And whether it's 100 cases they solve or one a year, I mean, it's worth it to me. It's worth it to that family that's looking for justice. So we're going to get into that at 10 and 11 tonight, just kind of unpacking all that, and also talking about what people can do if you got $5, $10 to help to the cause, because who knows when we would be in need of Crimestoppers,
Yeah, God forbid anyone is.
That's right.
But the fact that it is there is so huge as well, Jess. And organizations like Crimestoppers go into West Michigan. We had Silent Observer on the west side of the state, which is a similar program. But having stuff like Crimestoppers where people can call and give those tips and be anonymous as well, when they might be scared of retribution, or they might be turning in a loved one, which would obviously be one of the hardest phone calls that you have to make, but doing the right thing to help a family get justice. Having that tool for the public is just so vital as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even we're talking about tonight in this double shooting, of course, non-fatal, but, I've been told that folks are being a little bit uncooperative at the scene. Not having that outlet to call anonymously is a huge deal. It may mean the difference between that little tip, that little nugget that solves a case, and not everybody wants to dial 911. Not everybody wants to go to Detroit Police headquarters for a litany of reasons. And it's not just in Detroit, it's a lot of places. And we have to remember Crimestoppers of Michigan doesn't just service Detroit Police, they service everybody. So whether you're in Livonia, whether you're in Grosse Pointe, those tips are coming in from crimes all over. So an important story, a little shocking, and the organization has not spoken out until tonight on Fox 2. This is the first time you'll hear from them.
Yeah, and certainly, hopefully, someone's able to step up and give them the help that they need. We know that just this community is so generous and so caring as is, so hopefully they're able to get that funding and continue those services. Again, you talked about just how many vital services people think of the hotline, but there's those family services, those press conferences that help keep the crimes on people's radar, in people's minds, because unfortunately, this is just how things go. We go about our daily lives. We might forget that something had happened, but then realize when it's back on our radar, oh, I did see something, or I did hear about this, and maybe I should call in that tip and give it to police so they can try and help solve that crime. Because again, we were just talking a few minutes ago about the fact that the smallest piece of information could be that piece of the puzzle that helps bring families the justice they deserve.
And even those posters, when you walk into the party store and there's a homicide from a few years ago, even just seeing that face of the victim or a suspect or something like that helps spur, jog people's memories. So those posters would go away. And it's so silly, but it would be something they couldn't afford to do. And I got to tell you, I get reached out, families reach out to me all of the time with cold cases, unsolved crime, whether it's murder or sexual assault crimes. And they feel like police have hit a dead end, and we pass them on to Crimestoppers, whether we do a story or not. It's a resource for us too to pass families on to when they feel like they don't have any more hope. And so not just in a tangible way, in a tip way, but it provides families some kind of solace when they feel like their cases aren't being taken seriously or there's dead ends. So it's an important organization.
It's 9:36. If you're just joining us, we are keeping an eye on this scene as we are waiting for Detroit police to give a news conference about this scene. At this point, what we do know is 2 people were shot and hurt on Detroit's east side. The scene playing out at Somerset and Courville Avenue, not far from I-94, not far from Outer Drive. We are staying on top of this because, again, you see how big of a crime scene this is, the number of evidence markers, families waiting to get into their homes for this police scene to clear. At this point, we do know that there are no arrests in this case. Jessica Dupnack working her sources here, Lauren Edwards working out there as well, talking not only with police, but with people who were in the area when this happened. Lauren, if you're with me right now, what can you tell us about what you're seeing, and what are you hearing at this point?
Hey, gotcha. I can hear you. I'm totally with you. I can just tell.
And it appears, unfortunately, the live shot has frozen on us. Lauren Edwards, we will check in with you as soon as we get the shot back up. But again, what I can tell you, Fox 2's Jessica Dupnack working her sources, able to confirm the information that we have right now, that 2 people were shot and hurt on Detroit's east side. No arrests made at this point. We do know the injuries are not fatal. So that is good news when it comes to that. But again, anyone who saw anything or anyone who was in the area when this happened, please give Detroit police or Crimestoppers a call. That number, 1-800-SPEAK-UP. You will remain anonymous if you are able to give them that call and give them that information that might help solve this crime. And again, we do know that the public information officer is out on the scene right now. Nightfall, the sun has officially gone away. It is dark in that neighborhood at this point. As police are still working to try and figure out what exactly happened here. We saw Jessica Dupnack talking just a little bit ago with the large cluster of police officers gathered around. She says that's an indication that we could be getting some information soon. We know, we know the public information officer is on scene. That will be the person who speaks to the media about this and gives that briefing. Officers, you could see comparing notes, trying to just really piece together what exactly happened out there. We saw them when we came on the air at shortly after 8:30 tonight when we broke into this situation. We saw Detroit police speaking with witnesses, trying to really piece this together. Jessica's sources telling her that it was really a chaotic scene out there as well, and we were told as well that people out there were not able to get into their homes at this point. People waiting to get into their homes after a long day. Obviously, 83 degrees outside, still a hot day as well. And we saw.
Hey, Aaron, you got me?
Yes, I do, Lauren.
Just want to make sure you got me. We were just we had a PIO team come over and just tell us it might be another 30 to 45 minutes before we actually can get, we can hear from Bedison or someone else just exactly about what happened out here. So they were just kind of briefing us, just letting us know it's going to be a little bit more time, but it's still an active scene out here. Police are still everywhere. We're at Somerset and Courville, the scene a little bit closer to Haverhill or Haverhill. I don't know how it's pronounced out here, but there is still an active scene out here, and I can tell you a lot of the people who were here on the other side of the yellow tape have now actually gone home. Police allowing them to go into their individual homes, and that was a lot of the sort of the tension that you saw earlier. They just wanted to get inside, and some of them actually had children in those homes and wanting to get to those children who were down there for several hours. So it was, they had been out here, I would say 3 hours, maybe even 4, waiting. And of course, but also understanding police are doing an investigation. We saw the evidence markers that were on the ground, and we saw them talking to people outside of their homes and on lawns. And now we're hearing a chopper above. So there's, again, still very much an active scene out here. So much happening, but they were just antsy, wanting to get home, and now they are. So that's why you really don't see them out right now. It's just a lot of police, a lot of detectives trying to piece together exactly what's going on out here. So again, we're going to continue to stay out here because the story is fluid. It's developing.
Absolutely, and thank you for that update, Lauren. Again, if you're just joining us, they said the Detroit Police Public Information Officer said it could be a little while longer before we actually hear from them, get some information. At this point, we are hearing from sources that 2 people were shot and hurt on Detroit's east side. We know no one in custody at this point, but we do know that those injuries were not fatal. So some good news when it comes to that. Lauren Edwards.
And Aaron, if I may speak to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I don't mean to jump into that.
No, you're fine.
I want to
Please
speak.
do.
I think that was part of a lot of the intensity that was out here. You just don't know, right? You come home, you see this, you just don't know what's going on. You just see police everywhere, and you see yellow tape, and so a lot of it is, and then you saw, again, like I said, there was a pool out there. There was like a slip and slide. There was a bike, so there were kids and stuff. So you just don't know. So we have questions, they have questions, things get a little tense and stuff like that. So yeah, they were just trying to figure things out because we don't know what's going on, and I do not like speculating at all. So we are just hoping, and we're going to be waiting for 30 to 45 minutes for DPD to say something. I've spoken with residents, and they said that there was a shooting. They say someone was shot. They also too say that it was non-fatal, but that's all that they really know. That's all that they were able to tell us.
Lauren, and I don't mean to put you on the spot here with this, did they give any indication when you were talking to those witnesses, did they give any indication on how many gunshots were fired? Did they say it was a large number or anything like that?
Just multiple shots, as we saw the evidence markers on the ground. I think I heard about, not heard, but I saw about 5. There could be more, could totally be more. We do not know, but that's what they heard. And they just know that it was non-fatally as well, but nevertheless, that still riles them up to have a shooting with children nearby. And let me tell you, this is a very family-oriented neighborhood. There's families out here. There's also other like senior citizens that live out here. Seems everybody knows everyone, which is very typical of a Detroit city block where just everyone knows everyone. Very neighborly, honestly, but a lot of people were just friendly with us. So they are unnerved. You don't want to see something like this. You don't want to hear children and shooting in the same sentence at all, ever.
No, not at all. And to your point as well, Lauren, seeing you saw a younger child earlier just kind of wandering in the neighborhood by themselves as well, which in a situation like this is a very scary sort of situation. Obviously, not casting any, not trying to disparage the parents by any means. Kids run off from time to time, but still just certainly adding to the concern level out there as well. The fact that, again, on a hot day like today, you were saying you saw slip and slides, bicycles, children would be outside enjoying this type of weather as hot as it may have been.
Yeah. Absolutely. This is a beautiful June day, and kids were out. This is what kids do on a hot day. They play in a pool, they ride their bikes. And as you just said, we were out here earlier, and then we just saw a 4-year-old kind of walking towards the group, and she was by herself. And so I can see that being unnerving as well for anybody that witnesses that. So it was intense out here. Police were able to de-escalate it, and people were able to get into their homes. So,
Yeah, and
so still very active scene, still a lot of police out here. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, I was just going to say, as we were watching that live as it was happening, Lauren, and you could tell police were doing a very good job de-escalating that, hearing the people, letting them voice their frustrations with the situation, which, again, you can't say enough. Their frustrations are very valid because it's unnerving to have this happen in your neighborhood.
In your neighborhood, steps away from your house, whether you have kids or not. It's unnerving, it's disturbing, it's scary, it's something nobody wants to experience, nobody wants to hear shooting at all, but we did. As soon as we got on scene, I remember 2 men came up to us and they were like, what's crazy about this is that there was a shooting that was just a few blocks down, just a few weeks ago. So nevertheless, it's nothing that anyone wants to see, nothing anyone wants to witness or hear about or even partake in. But I can tell you the scene, at least from where we are, is much calmer. A lot of the people that were out here who were just curious, who really just wanted to get home. And there was a grandmother out here in her 70s. She really wanted to get back in the house so that she could use the restroom, understandably so. And then police also investigating at the same time, and then, allowing her to go back and allowing others to go back and using, that was able to de-escalate a lot.
Absolutely. And Lauren, to that point as well, just seeing the activity that was going on out there, it really seems like officers have gone from the true investigative mode. Now they're comparing notes at this point and trying to really piece together what one officer is hearing versus the other and really try and figure out what exactly happened in this situation.
I know a number of detectives throughout the years of just being a reporter, and I've been told so many times, time is of the essence. Time is always of the essence, from the moment the incident happened to 5 minutes later, to 10 minutes later, to 15 minutes later, and you are talking to everyone. You are knocking on every door. You are looking at Ring video. You are looking at cell phone video. You're even looking at, towers and see if anything pinged there. So just trying to do as much as you can, because time is just so limited. The closer you can do things to the time when it happened, the more accurate it is, even though, more details come out later. But yeah, it's that's what they're doing. The investigation continues. The investigation is ongoing.
Certainly, and to that point as well, Lauren, that time being of the essence, we do know that storms are moving across the state as we speak right now, and it's expected to storm later tonight. We're going to, of course, have a check of the forecast coming up on the news at 10. But that really adds another level of urgency to this as well, because officers don't want any evidence to possibly wash away by any heavy rainfall. So they're trying to get all of this gathered. We know just the other day with the shooting that happened out in Livonia, the officers were working that scene, trying to console family members and witnesses while battling the heavy rain out there as well, that in a scene that we know was both outdoors and indoors.
Absolutely. I've covered a number of investigations live on scenes, and weather, precipitation can delay things. I'm not going to say it's going to mess up an investigation at all, but it will make things a little bit slower. It's a little bit harder. Right now, I can tell you it is a beautiful night out here. It is a breezy night out here. Feels good. Not a cloud in the sky, so I'm hoping that weather will hold off. I do know that we're in that stretch of June where it is rain then sun, then rain then sun. But right now it's been clear. It's been clear all afternoon. We've been here for several hours, and there not a drop. Not a drop has come down. So, still a very active scene. Still a number of police officers out here. A number of detectives trying to piece together what happened, when it happened, how things happened, and it just, these things, it takes time. I know we have a million questions. The families around here have a million questions. Residents have a million questions. We all do. We want to know what happened, and we hope that these victims, as we know it's not fatal, but you still hope they're okay. You know, they can still be quite serious, but we don't know anything. So we're hoping to get some answers soon, and I think at this point they should be coming up to speak in maybe 20 minutes. 40 minutes now. It's been some time since they came over, but yeah, we're hoping to hear from Detroit Police Department soon.
Certainly, and we know at this point as well. You mentioned the physical wounds. There's obviously too the emotional, mental wounds as well for those victims and in their families and the people who are in this area as well. Certainly, just a scary thing to have happen. I mean, you can't say that enough. Just the fact that this is unnerving to have steps away from your home. Again, if you're just joining us here on Fox Local, I'm Aaron Jordan in our Fox 2 studios. Fox 2's Lauren Edwards live at the scene of a double shooting on Detroit's east side. 2 people shot and injured. We know that those injuries are not fatal. We know that no arrests have been made at this point in this case. So obviously, police trying to piece together a lot of information as well. And Lauren was just saying just a few minutes ago, you said the PIO said it's going to take a few more minutes for them to come and talk. Obviously, we know as journalists, Lauren, that getting the information out there is important, but it needs to be accurate as well.
Absolutely, and accuracy is the key, right? You don't want to have to go back and be like, hey, we made a mistake, especially too when you're looking for suspects. This is another story that I'm covering where police are looking for suspects. I was just down in Toledo, as you know, over the weekend, and the police there were looking for suspects, and it's so important to get that information correct, get that the details correct, what they look like, anything like that. So just that people can be on the lookout about all this, you know. And police always asking anybody with tips and information, and please call 1-800-SPEAK-UP. But yeah, correct information is what is needed. Accuracy is what is needed. Transparency is also what is needed. All of this, though, again, I cannot stress enough how early in the investigation this is. I know people have questions. We have questions. And you know our motto at Fox 2 is working for you. So I want our viewers to know, even though they only hear my voice, but we are trying to work for them to get those answers so that people can know what happened out here. People can know that the victims are okay. People can know what to look for in those suspects. So as soon as they give us that information, we will be delivering that to you guys.
Certainly, and and to your point, Lauren, you're working really hard out on the scene. You and photojournalist Jordan Nagel. We've also got an entire team of people working back here at Fox 2 trying to confirm some information. It really is a team effort. We're all working together to help keep the public informed, help keep them safe. I mean, that is certainly just one of the most important aspects of it. We do see two officers walking toward you, Lauren. Are those officers, or can you tell if they're the PIO team?
I cannot tell right now. They're a little bit of distance away. I know Jordan Nagel is zoomed in on it, but we are hoping that something comes soon. They come soon. We just saw a pair of officers actually go over there with flashlights. The investigation just continues. Whenever I see them out there with the flashlights, I know that they still are trying to piece things together. They're still trying to get questions answered. They're still working on things. And I will tell you that when the PIO team came over, they said to us that, you know, we just want to make sure we have the information correct so we can give it to you correctly. And certainly, I appreciate that. You know, I don't like guessing or speculation or anything like that. That people, you know, they are trying to, you know, cross every T, dot every I, and not just be like, well, we assume this. And that's not the reputation of the Detroit Police Department.
No, not at all.
But they want to be accurate so that we can be accurate and we can tell things, because you don't want to come back and be like, hey guys, we got it wrong, you know? Like, we want to be as upfront. They want to be as upfront, and they want to be as correct as possible. So we want to be as correct as possible as well. But
Lauren,
we're going to continue to stay on this scene. I know it's...
I was just about ready to say, Lauren, 9:55 right now. We are closing in on the news at 10. We want to give you and Jordan a chance to switch over to get ready for the news at 10. We're going to stay on this as well for a couple more minutes. I'll recap a little bit what we know. Lauren, thank you for your reporting out there throughout all of this.
Thank you.
And as we are staying on top of this situation on Detroit's east side, we know that 2 people were shot. No arrests have been made at this point. We know that the two people that were hurt, their injuries are not fatal, so that is good to know as far as that goes. But police still trying to piece all of this together. Lauren saying that it could be sometime. The Public Information Office at Detroit Police said it could be a few more minutes as they are trying to get all of their information together, make sure they are getting accurate information out to the public, wanting to be transparent, but wanting to make sure the information that they're putting out there is accurate as well. Again, just to show you a little bit of what the scene was earlier when Lauren and Jordan got out there, it was a very active scene. Jessica telling me that her sources were saying the scene was chaotic. It was certainly a active scene out there. Police trying to speak with witnesses. We saw a little bit ago just some evidence markers that were on the ground. Lauren saying she counted at least 5. Obviously could have been more. They were keeping everyone a good ways away from the actual crime scene where this was all taking place, and certainly understandable. Officers wanting to not contaminate the crime scene, preserve any evidence that they might have out there, and try and make sure that they're able to bring this shooter to justice. Again, we know that there have been no arrests made in this case at this point. The 2 people who were shot, the injuries were not fatal, so that is good to know. Again, I can't stress this enough. If you have any information out there, please give Detroit Police or Crimestoppers a call. Crimestoppers number, you hear this all the time. That is 1-800-SPEAK-UP. You will remain anonymous, and if there is a tip that leads to an arrest, if your tip leads to an arrest, you will get a money reward. So certainly a lot of information that we are passing along to you, and still a lot of information that we are waiting to find out what exactly led up to this shooting, who the 2 victims are, if they have any information about who might have done this. We are working our sources both here at Fox 2 and on scene, getting ready for the news at 10, but also making sure that we are staying on top of everything and bringing you the very latest confirmed information. And again, the story you heard Jessica talking just a little bit ago, the story that she is working is that about Crimestoppers as well, that Crimestoppers is cash strapped and they need a donation within the next month, or they will have to cut a large number of their resources. Jessica's going to bring you that story coming up on the news at 10 and the Edge at 11, and really how you can help, and really the need for this as well in the services that are at risk. The news at 10 starting in just 1 minute here. Again, I want to recap what we know at this point from Detroit's east side. This happening at Somerset and Courville Avenue. 2 people were shot and injured. We know that those injuries are not fatal, but at this point we know that no arrests have been made either. We are going to stay on top of this scene and bring you the very latest on the news at 10. That starts coming up in 30 seconds. We're also watching some